And we're back to the old way. Yeah, unfortunately, I cannot record any 3DS games yet that are good quality, despite me, having a phone as a camera, and I can't do that yet, so whoopsie diddle doozy. Hello there, everybody, this is CwapTheNintendin here, and welcome to another Platinum Impressions, which, I talk about games, specifically remakes. Yeah. So today we're going to talk about, why do I always sound like the dude from Glove and Boots whenever I say talk about? Today we're going to talk about Pokemon Omega Ruby for the Nintendo 3DS. And of course, as many of you know, is the remake of Pokemon Ruby. And also in vice versa, Alpha Sapphire, and which that is a remake of Pokemon Sapphire, of course. So, of course, I've been following this game like crazy. I've been following this game like mad. I was following, what new Mega Evolutions were announced, what new features to the main story were announced, because what basically went down was, when I was following this game for, ever since the announcement, was they're going to, have this quote-unquote dramatic story involved, because even though it's basically the same thing, in the final product, the main story of the game is actually pretty freaking expanded, and I like it. The changes they made, they were honestly all for the better, to be perfectly honest. Yeah, even your precious champion Steven was changed for the better. And yes, I said for the better. You think he's the best champion ever? Well, think of one thing he did in the original game. You can't think of anything? Okay, me neither. So, yeah. I was following this game like crazy, and I was going through really all the positive things, and of course I had my downsides with what they announced, of course, so I'll be getting into that later on. But, this is basically just Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire as you imagine it, in 3D and on story steroids, basically. And, what I really like about, Omega Ruby, well, per se, is the fact that they made Maxie Team Magma actually a lot more interesting this time around. He still kept his personality from the original games, except he's actually a lot more I don't know, a little more fancy per se. A little more fancy per se with his wordings and stuff. Plus, he says a lot of different things, too. Seriously, when you first meet him in Slateport, he goes on and on about this speech about things and junk. And I'd probably imagine, Archie from Team Aqua in Alpha Sapphire pretty much does the same thing, too. But, of course, I haven't played Alpha Sapphire. And yeah, that's kind of the one thing, too. I really want to get Alpha Sapphire just to see what they did with Team Aqua, too. Because, for one thing, they're black. Yeah, for one thing, they are black now. And all that good and fun stuff. But that's really all I know. But I think they made Archie more extreme than he was in the original game. So yeah, they radically expanded on at least the evil team leaders, at least. And their admins, too. Their admins have been getting a lot more personality. Courtney is like a robot. Which I think Courtney's freaking hitting on the main character or something. I can't imagine if you chose the girl as the main characters. Oh god, that would be just but more to the point. They changed Brendan and May, or at least the two rivals. The two rivals for the better, seriously. I think it's pretty much hinted that, your gender counterpart has a crush on you, the other main character. Near the end of the main story, they're just hinting. But then they had to go in friend zone after the Groudon or Kyogre crisis. Hi! But I honestly do think, they changed, Brendan and or May for the better, because not only are their themes better, but the rival battle theme is more awesome. And each time they appear, I don't know why, but I get really happy. They are definitely much better than they were in the original games. Definitely. And freaking Wally. Freaking Wally. Like, okay, I am not gonna spoil what the heck they did to Wally, but what they have done with Wally, at least at Victory Road, it's amazing. just going out there right now, it's great. It's so great. I wouldn't call it like awesomely groundbreaking or anything, but I'm just gonna say Wally gets awesome. Just saying. And it's a little tiny bit of a detail, but before I get on to the obvious little post-game story thing, obvious little touch that they did that I really like is, well, the fact that they have this sort of cutscene feel to like the 5th gym when you're battling against your dad, Norman, at the Petalburg gym. He does like the old karate master thing of like standing backwards and like, oh yeah, I know you're there. I hear your footsteps, man. And I don't know why, but I felt like that really stood out, that, you know, the 5th gym battle like really stood out. Like, it did in the original, but not to an extent as it does here. Like, seriously, they did like a really great job with it. Just saying. But regardless of that, I did like what they did with the main story. And again, Steven is much more awesome and is much more great in this one. Yeah, your so-called greatest champion of all time is still Cynthia. And think of one thing he did in the original that he did not do in the remakes. Can't think of anything? Well, he was there. He talked to the main character. And he was the champion. He got rid of a Kecleon. Yeah. But in the remakes, he's actually studying Mega Evolution, and he speaks more and more to the character, and he gets such a feel for your character. I don't know if I necessarily call it feel, but whatever. This unexpected encounter at like Route 118, where he freaking takes you to Southern Island, is actually really interesting because, it's another like Team Aqua, Team Magma encounter where they're trying to capture your version's Lati, and he actually gives you the Mega Bracelet, which you use for Mega Evolution, and all that great stuff. And I don't know. I don't know. Maybe he's got a different personality or something. He's still as calculated as ever, I suppose. But yeah. What really stood out to me in the main story is, the Groudon and Kyogre crisis. That one just went on an extreme level, per se. That one went on the extreme levels. Like, in Pokemon Omega Ruby, at least, like, Groudon causes your drought, of course, but now it's actually a lot more extreme. People are actually saying, oh my god, people are gonna burn up, they're gonna die. It's like, what? like, literal shit just got real. Like, not even the original got nothing on this. Like, they even expanded, like, Team Aqua and Team Magma, like, joining together to, like, help solve out the crisis, whatever they can. And your gender counterpart was there, too, and that was really cool. And yeah, that was literally my favorite part of the game, or at least my favorite part of the main story. Bar Wally and stuff, and bar the ending. But now we should get on to the Delta episode, which is the post-game story. And in fact, I found it really interesting, actually. I wouldn't say it's like... I actually say it's almost on the level of Pokemon, like, or at least Gen 5 storytelling. Because, basic plot is that after you beat the main adventure, of course, you are invited to watch the meteor shower in Moss Deep, when all of a sudden, bam, a random meteorite is heading straight for the planet. Everyone's gonna die. And this random girl thing, called Zinnia, or whatever, is stealing the Dragon Balls, Keystones, Dragon Balls, to summon Shenron to help destroy the thing. And without giving too much away, I find Zinnia, like, extremely interesting. Or at least, not really extremely interesting, just interesting. Like, in that part, she's like the center of it all. I don't know why, but she's the center of it all. And when you eventually get to Sky Pillar, where you're at the Delta episode's climax, she's got a backstory. It's sad. Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say on that. But yeah, I found the Delta episode like really interesting because not only is it your way to catch Rayquaza, but it's also your way of catching another notable legendary Pokemon. I won't exactly spoil who, but yeah, it's another little way to use your Master Ball. But regardless, I did like the whole story of Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. It's great. All of it is great, really. But if you're probably gonna find any difference between, you know, gameplay of Pokemon X and Y and Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, there are some small changes, but you know, for the most part, the gameplay remains exactly the same as it always has been in Generation 6, you know. The fairy types are there, you know, the small gameplay changes from Gen 6 are there, like, you know, steel types having less resistances and all that jazz. Fairy types still being the most broken thing. And all that good stuff. And, you know, this game really made it stick to the original games because, thank you, Pokemon X and Y gym leaders. Take note. Take note. This is how you do gym battles. Like, use more than 3 Pokemon at your freaking, like, penultimate gyms, you stupid. Okay. I'm not gonna say that Pokemon X and Y gym leaders were bad, just use more Pokemon. But yeah. Some gym leaders did actually make me wish that they actually went with their Pokemon Emerald teams, because in my opinion, actually, like, the Pokemon Emerald teams were harder, but I think they were better designed, actually. Because, well, like, I think the whole, like, issue started with, like, Watson's gym. Like, he doesn't have those, like, 4 Pokemon he had. Like, he didn't have, Electric, Magneton, Manectric, and, whatever else he had. Winona didn't have, like, 5 freaking Pokemon or something. She didn't have the Swablu, Swellow, Tropius, Altaria, and Skarmory on that team. How do I remember this? And, more importantly, Wallace didn't have his Emerald Champion team on him, which I think is a much better team overall than just freaking Love Disc. Wallace, why do you always use Love Disc on your Ruby and Sapphire team? Why? Okay. But, I think the biggest surprise for you is pretty much going to be after after you beat the 8th gym. Like, seriously, your biggest surprise. I'm not going to exactly spoil it, but it is. And that whole surprise actually does change, like, slightly the Elite Four's team as well. Yeah, seriously, it really does. And, I think one of the biggest features they had, or at least the biggest features they marketed, was actually the ability to not only fly to any location you want, like, not just Pokemon Centers you send it, but also routes as well. But there's also the fact that there's now soaring in the game. Basically, after you get your Mega Lati, in my case, I believe it's Mega Latios that you get. Yeah, it's Mega Latios. At a certain point in the game, you get this item called the Eon Flute. And what that basically does is that you can basically call Mega Latios at any given time, and it'll Mega Evolve automatically. And you can literally fly around in this 3D environment. So literally, no longer will you have to go through the trouble of teaching a Pokemon fly ever again. It might show up, like, near the end of the main story, but hey, at least it's better late than never, I guess. It helps you catch the Reggies quicker, I guess. But yeah, that is one of the best features that Pokemon has ever had. Like, just the ability to fly in a 3D environment. That's so cool. And the music there is really good as well. Of course, I'll be getting into music later, but yeah. So there is that. What else was there? What else? I can't really think of anything else to, like, say in terms of the gameplay, except, well, it's basically Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire as you truly imagine it, but with X and Y gameplay. And of course, yeah, the whole features of Pokemonomy, Super Training, and PSS are still there, which means Wonder Trading, yay! Yes, Wonder Trading, yay! I still love Wonder Trading. It's one of the best things ever. One of the best things ever. And one feature that I really did like is DexNav, which is basically your way of catching some rare Pokemon. No longer will you have to wait for rare random encounters to show up ever again. You just sneak up on the Pokemon, and you're good to go for finding it, should you find one rustling in the grass. And as you encounter the Pokemon more and more, sometimes you'll even get hidden abilities, like items you get, like Pelipper has lucky eggs. Yeah, seriously, Pelipper has a lucky egg, go get it. And sometimes you'll find them at really high levels, like I think in the Safari Zone, which, by the way, best decision ever for the Safari Zone, because not only is it free, not only can you actually battle the Pokemon, not only can you actually use whatever Pokeballs you want, but it's unlimited time. Yeah. And people are kind of pissed off about it? I don't know. I'm guessing some people are pissed about it, but they don't know. They don't know the struggle of having to deal with limited steps. They don't know. But yeah, I found a Gloom via DexNav and it was level 40. And it told me precisely what, like, potential it had. Like, if it had, like, perfect IVs or not. Like, if you encounter, like, the Pokemon multiple times, then you could see, like, literally everything. Like, Pokemon's level, what potential they have to be, like, good IVs or etc., etc. What abilities it has, what item it has. Like, seriously, DexNav is just too cool. DexNav is too cool. Just saying. But, aside from that, you know, the post-game, yeah. Aside from that, though, there's the post-game. There's Megastones to find. There's the Elite Four rematches, after which you can get, like, Johto, Sinnoh, and Unova starters. There's, the Battle Resort, which is basically the Battle Mason? Or whatever. Basically, Pokemon X and Y Battle Tower. And yeah, I'm gonna have a file about this. Because you can rematch Wally. Yes, but how do you do that? Well, it's simple. You have to go to the Battle Mycen, or whatever the frig it is, Battle Tower. You have to go over to the Battle Tower, and you have to beat the battles of the whatever, the Battle Frontier thing with the awesome Battle Frontier Brain remix they have. Singles, doubles, it doesn't matter. I went for singles. And you have to beat it once with that freaking Per Ugly that uses hypnosis, and it actually hits multiple times. Yeah, I was so freaking pissed about that. And not only do you have to do that, but you also have to clear the super single battles, or whatever it is. Yeah. And only then, by clearing it with 50 straight wins, can you rematch Wally. I will go on a limb by saying that is an incredibly stupid idea of having to rematch someone. Yeah. In fact, there are plenty of things I can say about, you know, stupid decisions. Like, understandably, Battle Frontier not being in Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. Understandably, people would be pissed about it. Which is why every single time I go to listen to the Frontier Brain remix, people are just complaining about, oh, the Battle Frontier is not there. Just listen to the remix, it's too good. Understandably, people are pissed that the Battle Frontier is not in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, but you know, I can live with it. Maybe someday it will be DLC. Most likely it will be DLC. There's also the fact that, oh, wait, my screensaver. There's also the fact that, X and Y isn't going to be patched with, you know, the stuff that Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire introduced, like, the new Mega Evolutions, like Mega Beedrill, Mega Metagross, Mega Salamence, etc. Like, just the fact that they didn't patch Pokemon X and Y with that just made Pokemon X and Y, like, kind of last shorter, if that makes any sense. Like, for every every really good news they have with it, there's also, like, some, like, really dumb decisions that they made, like, not patching X and Y with the stuff that OR and AS introduced. Like, it's not that hard, Nintendo. It's not that hard. Just make it so, like, you can make Pokemon X and Y version 2.0, where you introduce the stuff that was in OR and AS. Like, simply patch the game with that. It's not that hard. Also include an AC adapter with your new 3DS. It's not that hard. But instead they decided, nope, can't do it. Unable to do it. I mean, don't get me wrong, you can still battle with Pokemon X and Y, but you just can't have, like, OR and AS introduce stuff in it, which is kind of like the cosplay Pikachu or new Mega Evolutions or something. Yeah. By the way, I used to cosplay Pikachu throughout my entire playthrough. Not a bad Pokemon. So there's that. And, what else was that? Oh yeah, no gym leader rematches. Hi. Yeah, but aside from that, though, I just wish there was a lot more post-game, because don't get me wrong, Pokemon X and Y's, like, post-game was just fine as it is. And despite the fact that in OR and AS you can catch literally almost every legendary, I mean, legend finding isn't just, like, a part of the post-game, guys. It's not just part of the post-game. There's also, like, other stuff to do. Like, Black and White 2's post-game was so good. It was so good. Like, why can't you just make a post-game like that? So, yeah. I mean, aside from the post-game being, like, kinda, sorta, okay, / underwhelmed, / you know, okay, / I'm fine with the post-game. It's just that there isn't that much to do aside from, you know, legendary hunting, which I have found nearly every legend at this point in time. Which, by the way, super complicated way to get, like, legends. Like, Reshiram and Zekrom. You need to have a level 100 Pokemon on your team. And only then will you be able to find it. But to get Kyurem, you need both Reshiram and Zekrom. Reshiram is in Omega Ruby. Zekrom is in Alpha Sapphire. Heh. Yeah, there's really like cryptic ways like that, but whatever. No, skin off my back. But now I should probably go into graphics and music, because that's what you really wanted to see. Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire looks beautiful. Like, seriously, it looks way better than Pokemon X and Y could ever do. Like, I just, like, every time I go out into the field and just battle a random Pokemon, I just look at, like, you know, the forest, like, the trees blowing in the wind. Like, the trees look so much prettier in that one, seriously. And, yeah, just, I really love how this game just is so colorful, and it, like, just pops out, like, seriously. I mean, it might not be on Kid Icarus Uprising level of just so good, but it's definitely, like, one of the best looking Pokemon games to date, like, seriously. And, yeah, it's too good, man, it's too good. I just really love and again, I really love what they did with the Elite Four stuff, like making it all Asian themed and stuff, and, you know, rooms corresponding to the trainer's type theming or whatevs. And the Champion Steven's room looks awesome. Just saying. And what else looks beautiful? Like, pretty much the majority of the battle backgrounds in that game looks beautiful. Meteor Falls looks so good. Mount Chimney looks so good. The Too Much Water thing looks so good. Like, seriously, the water in this game is so beautiful. Like, despite it being too much, it's so beautiful. But what also is beautiful is the remixes, too. Like, you would never think that one of the themes that I thought was good could be amazing. AKA Route 113. Route 113 sounds amazing. That is literally my favorite, like, you know, overworld theme of that game, and possibly one of the best remixes ever in Pokemon history. Seriously. Just, it's right up there with Route 10 as you know, one of the best. And Lake of Rage as well. And the battle themes are also remixed so great. Like, one thing I noted when I was playing the special demo version, when I was noting it, the wild battle theme and the trainer battle themes kind of start out like the anime. It's like dun 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 dun, like that. Like, I don't know. It's just, it made me think of the anime versions of that song, which again is so good. The gym leader remix is so good. Champion Steven's battle theme is so good. Frontier Brain theme remixed beautifully. And even their original battle themes, like Wally's battle theme by any chance? Okay, here's the thing. About Wally's battle theme. Like, it's a great theme. It's just that it lasts too short. Like, it loops way too short. Like, literally, like, 35 seconds into the song, it just loops back to the beginning. And that would have been my favorite theme had it not been for Battle Zinnia. Holy crap, that is too good. I mean, it's not too chorus level, but oh my god. That battle theme, though. Sure, it may take like over 20 hours to get to it, but I don't care. It's worth it. It's worth it, man, just to hear that theme. It's so good. Yeah. So the remixes are so good. They're too good. But in whatever case, I do find Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire like worthy remixes. Worthy remakes to the originals. Like, just the way that everything pops out is so beautiful. The game looks beautiful. The game sounds beautiful. The game is basically plays the same as X and Y, which was so much fun. And, you know, despite the fact that X and Y doesn't get patched, or the Battle Frontier isn't there, or any other criticism I can find at the time, but I can't name at the moment. Just Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire really did capture like the spirit of the original like games, and greatly expanded it to a whole nother level of just good. And if you hadn't gotten it yet, and if you want to experience Generation 3, just get it. Just experience it. Get it on eShop, get it at a retailer, do it, whatever. I might do like a little bit of a platinum impressions, like 15.5 on like Alpha Sapphire if I ever get it, because I probably really want to talk about like how they made Team Aqua like expanded, probably, maybe Expander Dawn, but whatever. So yeah, get Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. You will not be disappointed if you are a fan of the original game. You will not. Unless you think, compared to Pokemon X and Y soundtrack, Pokemon Omega Rubies is God compared to X and Y, because apparently it's the cool thing now to hate Pokemon X and Y soundtrack. Dude, have you listened to Shalor City at all? Hello? Okay, so before I get off into a major tangent, see you guys on the next edition of Platinum Impressions. See you guys next time.